Hi Leo, this is your reading for January 2019. Thanks for being with me. I have a bit of a makeshift setup going on right now. I'm in a hotel in Vietnam. I was trying to get everything done before I had this trip, but didn't make it, so I hope you'll forgive the makeshift setup. Just relax and settle into a comfortable posture and set aside anything that you're doing so you're not multitasking, and just be present completely with me for the reading. Take a moment to focus on your breathing, and each time you exhale, release any tension that you might be feeling, and just come into a calm, quiet center. While I'm shuffling, take a moment to check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to reach out to my higher self and my guides so that we can create a feedback loop of information to get really clear and relevant messages that are especially tailored for you. Hope you can see the cards okay with this sarong down. Okay, Leo, let's get into it. The center of the reading, you have the Hermit upright, crossed by the Two of Swords. So it would appear that you're taking some time at the moment to be within and be quiet. For some of you, this may be like a kind of total isolation where you may actually just really withdraw from people. For some of you, you might still be in your active daily life, but kind of just quiet and contemplative within. And it would appear that for some of you, there is an important decision that's pending. And you may have been feeling for some time that you need to make this decision, but for whatever reason, I'm sure that's going to be different for each one of you. It seems like right now it feels like it's more important than ever to make a decision and take action on that decision during this time. And for many of you, the decision that is pending is with regards to your romantic relationship, I would say. You have the Two of Cups here and the Ten of Cups both upright in the reading. The Ten of Cups is the crowning card. So it's kind of like what is obvious and what is evident and what is kind of like what everything else in the reading is below it. So it's kind of encompassing the whole spread of all of the energies. And then the Two of Cups is in this position of the energy around you in your environment and people in your sphere. And you have with the Two of Cups there the Three of Wands in the upright position. So I feel that for some of you, you're looking at making a decision about your partnership, and with consideration for the long term. So for some of you, you may have been in a partnership already for some time with your partner. You might have already been involved for some time, and for some of you, you are kind of weighing up the pros and cons, and sort of it feels as if you sort of checking off some boxes to see if this is the person that you actually want to build something with that's much more long term. And for some of you, if you've already been with your partner for a long time, you're considering whether or not you feel like you can continue and that if there's energy for a sort of mainstay, for an extended stay. And it doesn't really indicate either way what your decision will be. Given that both of those two cup cards that relate to relationships are both in the upright position, I would say that there's qualities there that are very very positive, very beneficial, qualities that you would look for in a relationship, qualities that you would look for in a partner, qualities that you find valuable, that you respect, that you qualify and quantify, I would say. But there's other cards here that are giving me the impression that there is reason for you to actually ask those questions. Now, in this quadrant here, you have the Six of Wands upright with the King of Wands. So this King of Wands person could be you. It could be the person that you are making this inquiry about. But the Six of Wands in the reverse position here does suggest that either you or them are not feeling confident. Now, you might have reason to have lost confidence in this person, or you might have reason to question, or have reason to make inquiries about this person's confidence or your ability to be confident in them. There may have been an indiscretion. So it's at the bottom of the deck. Temperance in reverse, Queen of Pentacles. I'll leave it there for now. I'll come back to the rest of those later. I just wanted to see if there was something here that would give any more either confirmation or evidence to show that there was actually a third person involved. That perhaps some of the reason why some of you are actually bringing this inquiry to your conscious awareness now is that you might have suspicion to mistrust this person. For others of you, it's saying here that energy is actually you. It's not the other person. It's suggesting that your lack of confidence or your lack of self-esteem or your lack of feeling good is actually just a type of paranoia. It's not necessarily an intuition about this person. It could suggest that you are the one that has some insecurities, and you might be projecting that onto this person and making them feel, or you might be making yourself feel weak with your own insecurities and uncertainties that you could be projecting onto this person, and there may be nothing there for you to actually question and doubt. And this reading can't tell you one way or the other. This is simply, if it resonates with you and you understand what I'm saying here, then it's about dropping that insecurity and dropping that projection of your uncertainties, of your doubts, of your insecurities, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and just actually witnessing the beauty of what is in front of you and not causing instability through your own paranoia and self-doubt. For some of you, that's what these two cards here are saying. This Nine of Swords in reverse and the Ten of Wands in reverse are both in these positions where they're kind of behind you and below you. And I feel that the message here for some of you is that, and this is not all of you. So for some of you, the person that you're asking the question about has been unfaithful. But for others of you, you could potentially be sabotaging something really beautiful because you're projecting your insecurities and uncertainties onto someone. And that is what it is that you need to let go of. That's what these things are saying here. This Ten of Wands reverse and this Nine of Swords reverse are both suggesting very loudly that you need to free and liberate yourself from your own doubts and worries and anxieties and issues of insecurity and self-worth by dropping all the paranoia and the doubt and just become back into the center of self-worth and establishing a kind of a self-love that's founded on quiet, calm, persistent efforts to feel good, to feel secure. It's interesting. Look at these two quadrants here. You have the Nine of Pentacles reversed with the Page of Pentacles upright. I just kind of spoke on these two. And then in this quadrant here, you have the Queen of Swords upright with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So you have these two Pentacle court cards and these two kind of female powerful energies. One of them is in reverse with the Page of Pentacles, and this one is upright with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So what I feel is here, in this quadrant here in the outcome, excuse me, and it kind of goes together with this card and even this Ten of Cups. It's saying here that you have the potential to either build up or destroy a situation right now. You can either use this sort of truth to slice away your doubts and insecurities about yourself. Nine of Pentacles reverse, Ten of Wands reverse, and then Nine of Swords reverse are all sort of saying, you know, this is a moment for you to really acknowledge with sheer honesty and raw truth that you have been feeling insecure, and you've been using those insecurities to put pressure and paranoia out into the world onto somebody else. And using this nine energy of the Hermit and channeling it into the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, overcome this insecurity and this doubt and this inability to see by working with this Queen of Swords energy to invoke truth and wisdom, to put aside any kind of like the shakiness that I feel is here, like this Knight of Pentacles reversed, and even this Six of Wands reversed. It feels to me like this is a kind of it's a kind of self-sabotage that comes from paranoia and insecurity that you are projecting onto someone else, or whether or not you're in a romantic relationship, there's ways that you can see that you would be projecting your insecurities onto other people in order to sabotage relationships or sabotage commitments, sabotage loyalty, and destroy relationships that are otherwise quite profound and loving and caring, simply because you have insecurities and you have doubts as to your worthiness for receiving love. And this is an energy here that's saying, if you can face that honestly, again using this Hermit energy of like going within and finding the light. If you can, I just want to put it on the white background so you can see it better. If you can channel that energy by going within and finding the light that you have inside you, and the wisdom and the security and the knowing and the trust that all is well and you are loved and you are worthy of love, then you can set aside all your insecurities, all your doubts, all your fears and all your projections and just drop everything and free yourself from the bondage of that pain of unworthiness to receive love. And get this Ace of Cups turned right side up. Because right now this Ace of Cups in reverse is reflecting what I just described, where you are not feeling able to be receptive towards this type of pure unconditional love. Because you feel insecure, you feel unworthy, you doubt yourself in many ways, you don't feel confident, and you are projecting that out instead of owning it and facing it and speaking on it and accepting that that's actually where you are. And by accepting that that's where you are and speaking about it, whether it's to this person or to someone else, then you can actually start to deal with it instead of ignoring it and pretending that it's not there and having it show up as projections onto other people and sabotage loving relationships because you don't believe that you are worthy. Then you can start to heal, you can start to resolve, you can start to put that aside and start to build relationships, grounded, solid, loving relationships that have a lot of potential for long term. You have all these Pentacle energy cards here coming up. You know, there's a potential here for really long, established, grounded relationships. And whether or not this is about relationships with other people, it's not really the point. The point is being able to resolve this issue by honestly facing it and addressing it head on, where you may not have actually realized until now that you may have some unconscious belief of being unworthy to receive love, and that may be what's causing you to be paranoid and have doubt and project fears and project jealousies and envy and insecurities and mistrust onto other people and push them away. So yeah, in these extended cards here, you have the Temperance reversed with the Queen of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles reversed, and the Eight of Swords. So taking that feeling of like unworthiness of love or scarcity in love or scarcity in life, and dealing with this Eight of Swords, which is also connected to this Nine of Swords in reverse, where you actually reveal the truth that you know that you've been unwilling to face and deal with until now, which is this energy I've been describing around self-sabotage, where you're projecting your insecurities and your doubts and your paranoias and your fears and your mistrust onto your close loved ones because you don't believe that you're worthy to receive love. So there's work to do here, and everyone has this work to do. I feel like this, I mean, for many people, it's many lifetimes of work to arrive to this point where you're actually able to see this truth. And it's nothing to feel bad about, it's nothing to despair, it's nothing to like punish yourself even further for. Once you wake up to it, that's when you can actually really address it in ways that enable you to have much better quality of life. You can get this Nine of Pentacles turned upside down again, right side up. when you can address these issues of insecurities, that's when you actually can start to tackle self-love in a way that allows you to have the most amazing quality of life, because you start to own. You have responsibility for the quality of your relationships, because it's all founded on the quality of relationship that you have with yourself. So temperance is a key message here. Temperance reflects the need for forgiveness, self-forgiveness primarily, for acting this way unconsciously, for kind of keeping yourself bound up in insecurity and fear and mistrust. And use the energy of the temperance to just come into a harmonious, balanced, accepting place of who you are, where you've come from, all of the transgressions that have been permitted against you, and just forgive and heal, release, love unconditionally. Like this triangle symbol over this angel's heart is very specifically important in this card here, I think, because you can overcome all of the past, all of the abuses, or all of the transgressions by simply shining a light on those places and allowing love in, allowing forgiveness in, and coming to a place of acceptance of all things. It doesn't mean you accept a person's bad behavior if you've been receiving abuse, if you are still currently receiving abuse. If that's the case, then take steps towards getting yourself to a safe place and getting out of the situation. But what I'm talking about here is historical events that may have had an impact on you, where they've imprinted you and with a certain type of like self-image issues. I'm talking about accepting and releasing and forgiving those people or those events, and yourself as well, for being in all of that as well. And just coming to a place of forgiveness and healing through understanding and accepting events as they occurred, and knowing that every situation is kind of designed by you in a way to help you understand how strong you are, how beautiful you are, how lovable you are, how capable you are, how much love you have to give and receive. And that's the work to do here. It's primarily about self-love, as I see with this reading, with these cards here. Overcoming this tendency towards self-sabotage by projecting your insecurities outwardly, and just taking this moment to remove the blindfold with these two cards here. They both of these characters, which are both representing you, both have the blindfold on. And this is a moment to understand that you are actually, this is a very powerful moment for you to understand how much empowerment you can gain from actually removing that blindfold, and understanding and accepting how much responsibility and ownership you can take of all of your feelings, for all of your experiences, for the quality of all of your relationships, for the quality of your life. And start to understand that when you begin to move forward in a way that you put down all of these insecurities and fears and binding kind of mental energy and effort that goes towards holding you into this kind of place of discomfort where your insecurities are kind of controlling you, and start to put these things down and address areas where you do feel insecure. And the best way to do that is to just kind of take them out, speak on them, whether it's just admitting it to yourself or writing them down or talking to a friend. But the sooner you start to own and accept your insecurities and address them and reveal them, that's when you'll start to have some relief from the unconscious way that these insecurities play out in your life and affect every aspect of your reality, from your relationships to your work to your friendship circle. All of these things are affected by your insecurities. So the sooner you start to address them and take ownership for them, the less impact they will have on you in a harmful way, because they will no longer be unconscious, and you will start to realize and understand that you are responsible for everything, and that includes the way you think and feel. And those vibrations are what affect your entire experience. So let's see if there's anything else here. I feel like that's basically it for the general reading for you, Leo. Yeah. So as I said, if you are questioning your relationships at this time, if you're really shining a light on like whether or not you want to pursue something more long-term with this person, before you start, you know, whether verbally or silently attacking this person's credentials, just stop and check if you're actually really having issues with them, or if you're actually really having issues with yourself. And be honest. Queen of Swords is offering the opportunity to slice through a lot of drama and a lot of falsehoods by striking with a raw, real, and radical honesty. And that takes courage. But you have it. You have that skill. You have that ability innately in you. So don't shy away from it. But really do seek to uncover the truth here, because you have a lot to be revealed. And in those revelations, you'll find a lot of relief and comfort in understanding the truth of where your troubles or difficulties or issues have been coming from. I mean, the people that you're dealing with have their issues too. Certainly, no one's perfect. I'm not saying that that they never did anything to make you kind of ask questions. Certainly, but you come back to the core every time of your own self, your own truth, your own being, your own thoughts, ideas, and you know, patterns that you are projecting out onto life, and start to address and recalibrate from your deepest center rather than pointing the finger and blaming. You'll start to see that you have much more quality relationships and with much less drama. Okay, Leo, I think that's it for the general. I'm going to take the Voyager deck now and shuffle to give your higher octave reading. This will help give a little bit more insight onto the karmic and spiritual lessons at play, help us to understand how to move with grace, and hopefully give guidance on what to do with these energies so that we can make the most of the opportunities that are available to us for our learning and growing and expansion. So while I shuffle, take a moment to check in with your higher self again. I'm going to keep this spread out, so just give me a second here. That was there. Yeah. So while I'm shuffling, do send your energy over into the deck. I want to make sure that I get really clear messages for you. So send your energy over, blast the deck with your energy, and just come back into a calm center again if your mind's gotten carried away a little bit. Okay. Seven of Cups crossed by the Sage of Cups reversed. Child of Wands reversed, Three of Wands, Chariot reversed, Balance upright, this is the Justice card, Nine of Cups reversed, Sage of Worlds, Sage of Crystals, that's nice pairing together, Devil's Play in reverse, Ten of Wands upright, the Hermit again, Universe, this is really nice. We have these four major arcanas in these two diagonal corners here. Oh, sorry, these are not majors, but there's the Sage of Worlds and Sage of Crystals upright, and then the Hermit and the Universe here. And then here we have Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay. I feel that this spread is offering very similar messages to what we just had. But I'll go in a little bit deeper here and see if there's any more messages to share. At the center of the reading, you have the Seven of Cups crossed by the Sage of Cups. So three of the sages in this deck, in the reading, sorry. Now the sages in this deck refer to the highest expression of each of the elements. So in this Voyager deck, what they've done is with the suits, with the court cards. So normally in the Rider-Waite deck, you would have Page, Knight, Queen, and King to represent people or stages of a journey, let's say. In the Voyager deck, you've got the Child, which relates to the Page and the Knight is kind of been condensed integrated into one energy, and then you have the Man and the Woman, which relates to the Queen and the King, and the Sage is a sort of, you know, gender neutral peak epitome kind of experience of a person who has really mastered that element. In this reading, you have it three times. So you have the Sage of Cups, the Sage of Crystals, and the Sage of Worlds. These two are upright. I do read reversals for the crossing card at the center of the reading. So the Sage of Cups is in reverse as the crossing card, and the central card of the reading is called Fear in this deck. It's the Seven of Cups. So what that says to me is that this process of uncovering your insecurities may be a little daunting for you, because there are a lot of fears and shadowy kind of dark elements that you may be afraid to uncover. But the crossing card, being the Sage of Cups, says to me that that you need not fear that, but rather go in that direction, because that is the place you need to work to uncover and release and free yourself up from certain types of binding ideas and beliefs that are, for the most part, unconscious to you. I think there's a lot of unconscious work. There's a lot of unconscious energy that is driving you in your quest to uncover the truth and become more whole. And I feel that the Sage of Cups is offering this energy of support for you in working with emotional energy, to say that, as I said, you need not be afraid to move in that direction or to look at these things, but rather feel a sense of excitement for how much energy you're going to free up and be able to elucidate your sorrows and open up to a sense of greater freedom and liberation and a sense of joy. There's an opening to joy available to you if you can actually go in there. And it's not about reliving trauma or pain or abuse. It's rather just like acknowledging that something's there. You know, most of the time, emotion that's stored in us, that's potentially blocked energy that has been, you know, places where we may have experienced difficult things, and at the time those experiences were happening, we didn't get the chance to actually express the feelings that were being triggered by a certain event. And that's the place where those kinds of imprints occur, where we can find ourselves later in life repeating certain types of unhealthy kind of engagements or interactions with people, or just unhealthy kind of responses and in relationships or in experiences where, you know, we get triggered in certain areas. Mostly it's because there's a certain type of energy somewhat trapped in a specific place in us, whether it's actually in our physical body or in our energetic bodies, where we might have experienced some kind of trauma or pain. And it doesn't even have to be something really big, like something actually, you know, physically abusive or some type of really big thing. It could just have been a passing comment that someone made when you were young, or even as an adult. It could have happened last week. That triggers a certain type of insecurity or self-doubt or feeling of lack of worthiness that is unconscious, that makes us feel small and keeps us trapped in certain types of, you know, simply just lack of self-worth and lack of self-love. So in revealing those kinds of places where that kind of emotional energy could be hiding, the Sage of Cups here is offering us a sense of hopefulness about being able to process that energy without it being painful again, but rather it being very enlightening and freeing up in a way that allows you to regenerate your energy and feel a greater sense of openness, a greater sense of clarity, a greater sense of willingness to be a part of life in a way that allows you to be more receptive to love. And there's nothing to shy away from. It's definitely nothing to shy away from. So now the crowning card and the foundation card here. This is a central axis here that I like to read, from the unconscious mind to the conscious mind. In the unconscious mind, you have the Three of Wands, which you had in this previous reading here. But in this deck, it has a slightly different interpretation. It's called compassion here. And I feel that that's a really beautiful message from your higher self, to tell you that the work here is not about, like, as I say, it's not about reliving old traumas or going back to kind of remember and relive experiences that were painful and difficult. It's simply about opening up to greater love through compassion and wisdom and understanding. Again, with the Temperance card there, it's like forgiveness and understanding and acceptance of the past, to resolve all transgressions simply by just accepting and understanding, forgiving and letting go. And the crowning card here is the Child of Wands in reverse. In this deck, this card is called the Seeker. And I feel that this is just like kind of indicating the direction as far as like your like this work is a journey of self-discovery. As I said, it need not be an experience to shy away from, or to loathe, or to fear, or to avoid. It's simply the journey that one must undertake if they are to understand who they are, and to know where you've come from, is to really understand your fullest and deepest parts of yourselves in a way that allows you to have your fullest expression. So just keep moving forward with this as it's describing here in the reading. Just like work with the energy. Go towards where the pain is. Look within. Seek to uncover the truth of any type of experience externally that makes you feel any type of way, which might be mistrustful or doubtful, or just own it and acknowledge if it's coming from within. It's not always the truth. There's that kind of overused spiritual new age type of mantra that people use, that if you feel triggered by someone, it's because you're whatever that thing is. It's not always true. Sometimes people are just assholes. But if you are being mistrustful towards people that are actually being good and kind towards you, that is the place where you need to check and see where you are holding insecurities and lack of self-love. And it says that here again with the Nine of Cups in reverse and the Ace of Wands in reverse here. These cards are an extension of the heart of the reading. And so it's saying here that there is opportunity here for you to illuminate your own unhappiness and shine a light on where it is that your lack of fulfillment is actually stemming from, like, issues of self-worth, which I've said over and over already. That's really clear to me here. Like these Nine of Cups in reverse, this lack of contentedness, lack of happiness, is something that needs to be addressed from within by actually looking at the places where you need to shine light on areas where there is doubts, fears, insecurities, anxieties, lack of self-love. Now here, this is the energy of in your environment, people around you. It can also be more cards speaking about your energy. But I feel that the Sage of Crystals and the Sage of Worlds here are, again, lending more support, like the Sage of Cups did. This is kind of saying, utilize all of the resources that you have within, but also potentially look around you for people that could support you, that are more experienced and older than you. You could actually really do well potentially to seek out a healer or someone that you can work with, whether it's like a therapist or a counselor or someone that knows how to work with energy. But again, as I said in my readings, when this comes up in readings, I do kind of preface it with a warning to make sure that you work with someone that you actually, first of all, could really trust. Use your intuition wisely, of course, but also make sure that you feel that they're actually, qualified, and not necessarily in the bookish sense or in the certificate sense, in the having finished certain courses through school or whatever. But because there's some really talented healers out there that have never been to school. The point that's important is to understand that if they're going to work with you on that level, they have to understand how to complete the process of actually helping you reveal and release something, and not just leave you kind of half done, where you might have opened up to a certain awareness of something, but then nothing happens with that thing, and it just, you've got to work through the complete process. Now, this central axis here in the reading is coming from the recent past into the potential future now. You have the Chariot in reverse, and the outcome card here is Justice, which is called Balance in this deck. So I feel that for some of you there has been, and maybe that's what the first reading was speaking about, if you've come to a place where you're in this process of reevaluating your relationship and questioning it, but as was revealed in the previous reading, your questioning of the relationship and even the person that you're involved with, if that's coming from a place of mistrust and a lack of ownership of your own insecurities that may be causing you to feel mistrustful or jealous or XYZ, the Chariot in reverse is saying here that you may have lost your personal enthusiasm or your drive, or you're not channeling that energy, or you haven't been channeling that energy in the right way, in the way that it should be channeled, which is to actually, take ownership, look within first rather than pointing the finger outwardly. And balance here is in the outcome position is saying to me that you really ought to use use your energy wisely. And as I said, you have the Hermit again here, and just seek to find balance from within first, rather than projecting your insecurities and pointing the finger and blaming or victimizing yourself by kind of making other people responsible for how you feel. And seek to harmonize internally by using the energy of the Hermit to look within. And there's the universe here with this card to sort of suggest that there is a lot of support for you to do this process. It could suggest that for some of you, I would say that for some of you actually, if this reading is resonating with you, but you feel that you still want to finish the relationship that you're currently in, then the universe is saying that the cycle could be closing out. And so that might be an affirmation for you, if that's what you're waiting to hear from me. I'm never telling you what to do. You need to understand that when you watch my readings. You must always take responsibility for your action and the way you feel, and you must always only ever use your own intuition. My job here is to simply channel information coming from your higher self, but you need to take responsibility. But I feel that for some of you, there is a type of closure that's being offered here. With the Hermit and the universe together, it could be suggesting that this is maybe a time for you to withdraw, not just temporarily for a time of contemplation, but this may be a time for you to actually end a relationship and move on. For some of you, it's speaking more about closing out of a cycle as far as your way of relating to others. And this could suggest that it really is time to withdraw and go within, so that you can actually redefine yourself and come to a place of greater self-love. And maybe to do that in a way that's quite swift, perhaps, or quite to resolve a lot. You could perhaps go on retreat or go into a type of quiet, contemplative isolation where you really do withdraw from people and distractions for some time. If you've been feeling like that's what you want to do, I would support that. But I would also say with that comes also with a caveat to say that if you just are isolating yourself because you don't feel good, but you're not actually using that time to actually really go within and contemplate and find the light, then you're just feeding your depression or your loneliness, and that's very indulgent and very unhealthy. Now, in the position of the hopes and fears, you have the Ten of Wands upright with the Devil's Play card in reverse. In this deck, the Devil card is called Devil's Play. I really like it. It's in reverse here, so I feel that for some of you there is a hint of a suggestion here to potentially work with medicines, psychedelic or shamanic medicines, to help you understand and see and have a potentially accelerated moment of understanding and learning with the support and help of our plant teacher medicine friends. Potentially also this could be more of this kind of energy I was speaking about earlier, where I said you could work with a healer or someone that is something like a counselor or a therapist or some type of energy worker. This could also be the same. This could be a similar type of energy, but in a little bit more of a shamanic way. It's all shamanic work, though, all the same, more or less. Just different ways of getting there. Yeah, use if that's something that's around and coming up for you, and if you feel aligned with that, certainly pursue. Again, using your intuition and following your inner guidance. You could potentially work with plant medicines or some other type of shamanic energy work to kind of release and resolve and open up and have an accept. Because look at this card here called Growth. It's the Ten of Wands, which you had in the previous reading here in the reverse, in that position of this coming into the reading, recent past. And it's a similar energy, but it's quite different actually. The way I feeling it in this reading is that it's really about like that, the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of understanding, that kind of reaching forward, reaching for your own light by going within and listening and resolving and letting go. I feel like for a lot of you, this is really a time where you want to really let go of a lot of old stuff, and you have a potential here to kind of really, really free yourself up from a lot of baggage of past hurts and pain that maybe you are reliving through relationships that have nothing to do with where the source of that pain actually occurred. And there's a big potential here, is what I feel, for a very accelerated, expansive growth where you open up to a lot more light within by just actually releasing and letting go of some old hurts that you've been holding on to that you may not have even been aware of, that have been binding and limiting and restricting you in your ability to express love. So let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. That's basically it, I feel, for the higher octave reading, but I do want to just have a quick look here. So I've got Three of Worlds reversed, Queen of Cups, Woman of Cups reversed, Woman of Wands reversed, and the Fool reversed. That's really interesting, because you had these three sages here in the reading. Now you've got these two queens here, both reversed. And then you have the Fool, Child, and the Three of Worlds reversed. I feel that some of you may be dealing with pregnancy. That might be what some of you are looking at here with this uncertainty. And some of you may be unsure if you actually want to commit to that pregnancy. There's no advice here to give. There's no, I cannot tell you either way what you should do, but I do support you to do what's right for you and listen to your intuition. And there is no guilt or shame about choosing not to carry forward with a pregnancy. I don't believe that. I feel like every woman has the right to choose. And here, I guess, yeah, the Three of Worlds reversed is called nurturing in this deck. I do feel that this is a time where you really are looking at how you need to address very seriously, like how you can take better care of yourself. This is about self-care, self-love, self-appreciation. Really striving to actually, you know, the thing is, when you really put your effort into self-care and address issues of insecurity and doubt and all those other things I spoke of earlier, when you really commit to that work and you really put attention on where you feel insecure and actually own that and address that, your superpowers just get bigger and bigger, you know, because when you stop projecting your smallness onto people and just own that, and then realize that you actually don't need to be small, you don't need to hold that, because you are awesome and you are worthy of love, and there's no reason to limit the amount of self-security or self-love that you have, and that you can just like be exactly who you are without ever feeling sorry about that, then there's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to how great you can feel. There's no limit to the bounty that you can experience when you just embody that sense of I'm awesome and I don't give a fuck. So really, there's no reason to avoid doing this. There's no reason to feel afraid of any kind of shadow, dark stuff that you might find. It's, you know, it's time to take it out. It's time to extract and release and resolve and let go and remove. Do your own ritual work. That's also what the Devil's Play card is saying here in this position. I feel that you can also design your own type of ritual practice. You don't necessarily have to go to someone else to have that experience. You know, you can work with your own, in your own way, with your own tools, with your own imagination, with nothing, with a piece of paper and a pen, or not even any props at all. You can work with crystals if you like. You can work with herbs and essential oils, or you can just be in your meditation and use visualization and not need any theatrics at all. Whatever works for you, boo. Just do it. Don't hold back. Stop waiting to have the life that you want. Stop waiting to have amazing relationships. It starts with you. Okay, I feel that that's it, Leo, for your reading for this month. I hope you found that clarifying and helpful. It's a pleasure and an honor to read for you. I really appreciate your time here. Thank you for subscribing. If you feel that was helpful for you and you think someone else might find it helpful, please share it. Hit me with any comments or questions down below. I'll do my best to get to them. And have a fucking great 2019. Let's get it. I think this year is going to be amazing and really, really fast moving. That's what I feel. So get your running shoes on. Have a great month, and I'll see you in next month's readings, Leo. Thank you so much.